says right there, then you will say to those on the left, depart from me, you are cursed, into eternal fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. Okay, so they're his angels. We've gone through this before. 1/3 in Revelation got swept out. Okay, we see also in Jude, we've gone over in Jude that they were cast out. Remember? Okay, so we know that. So that kind of the theory of that these demons were disembodied spirits is not in the Bible anywhere. Okay, right? So we don't see that. Huh? Well, another thing too. Now, another thing we have to look at is that one thing we don't know, and I'm not going to give an opinion on this since I haven't done a study. This all comes down to when was Satan cast out of heaven. Some believe he. Well, some was. The Bible doesn't specify, but there are studies on it. Okay, I have my theory, and I'm not going to really say since I haven't done a deep theory. Okay, because the Bible doesn't say. There's a lot of people who believe he was cast out before the creation. There's some people who believe, okay, that he was cast out between chapters 2 and chapter 3, which is pretty likely. I can look at that one because also we see Satan show up.
What difference is it?
Well, I mean, the difference makes this. There's a couple of reasons because you have to come out of Isaiah 14. The reason it makes a difference is where we come to the gap theory. It says he was cast down to earth. So they come down, since he was cast down to earth, he destroyed the earth. Okay. That's part of the gap theory. Okay? Also, when God says, and it was good, well, how can it be good if Satan was cast down to earth? See, there's all these different things, okay? But you see, so but here's what we have to understand. The Bible doesn't specify when Satan was cast out. Okay? And since I haven't gone on a deep enough study, I'm not going to say this is when Satan was cast out, and it's not really that crucial of a point. But that has a lot to do with how we come up with like the gap theory and something saying when was Satan cast out. We have to know. We have to go to do that. You have to look at his creation. When was Satan created? Okay? And some people believe Satan was created during the creation time of man, too. See, all that plays into this.
Lucifer has been in heaven for...
We don't know.
Right.
It doesn't say.
So, I got a quick question.
What do you mean created?
Well, we don't know how long he's been.
Right.
But like, haven't he could have been in the garden for...
No, actually they weren't. We should think that. We're going to find out something very interesting.
Really?
Couldn't have been there that long. We'll find out when you look at this.
So in the New Testament, and I can't remember where it is off the top of my head, but when they talk about the mystery of iniquity, is that iniquity pertaining to man or pertaining to Satan or both?
That's a good question.
Where?
Yeah, that's in Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know, Daddy. That's a good question, though. I don't.
We're talking about this.
Yeah.
Like, there's the mystery.
You got the mystery of godliness too.
Yeah, and now I'm not so. I'm just like, well.
I would personally. I don't think it would. I think the mystery of iniquity, I would think would pertain to. It's like, why did God? Why is there evil? You know what I'm saying? Why do we have evil? It comes out of that. That's the mystery. We don't.
That's that question. The mystery of iniquity is that question.
Well, is it pertaining to our iniquity or to because it's us?
Right. And
there's Satan, but it's mostly us.
Right. Well, that's a good question. I've never looked real deep. It's the same thing as godliness is a mystery. It's a mystery of godliness. Nobody can really make it. Like, I think there's certain things like that we're not going to understand until we get to heaven. That's why it's called a mystery. It hasn't been revealed to us. Okay, so that's one of the. Another thing too we have to look at is according to the gap theory. Okay, that means that the world was judged and destroyed, and sin came into the world because of Satan. But that's not what the Bible says. The judgment came upon because of man's sin. So the first time it wasn't Satan's curse. It was man who was cursed. If you look at Genesis chapter 3, go to Genesis chapter 3. Okay, so that's another thing too. In other words, sin came into the world. The gap theory says sin came into the world because of Satan. No, sin came into the world because Satan. This is another thing we have to understand. Satan's judgment is separate from our judgment.
Right.
And when he was cast out of heaven, whether it was before we were in that judgment came separate from us. And so even if God looked, here's another thing too. If Satan was cast out, before God ever created earth, and God looked at it and said, his creation is good. That doesn't mean just because Satan fell in sin that things were good. He's looking at the creation, separate from Satan. See what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
See, so that has right. So it doesn't make any difference. Even if Satan was cast out before, and they could say, well, then how could they say God say His creation was good if Satan was? No, because He's not talking about Satan. Satan has a whole separate judgment. It has nothing to do with us. Okay, hell was created. So therefore, that tells you hell was created. Hell itself was probably created before earth. See what I'm saying? If Satan was cast out of heaven, hell no, that was already been created way before earth. See my point?
They knew of it, basically. The angels knew of it.
Oh yeah, they have a separate judgment. This is important stuff to understand. Okay, so Genesis 3:15 and 19.
15 through or 15?
Yeah, 15 through.
Can I read?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I will put my enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and he will strike his heel. So the woman, he said, I will greatly increase your pains in childbearing, and with pain you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. To Adam, he said, because you listened to your wife, and ate from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil, you will eat of it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken. For dust you are, and dust you will return.
Okay, so we see, what was it? Who was the curse? From Satan, not from Satan,
No.
from man. Go to Romans chapter 5:12.
That's pretty harsh.
5:12 says, therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, it didn't say it entered through Satan, did it?
No.
See what I'm saying? Through one man, and death through sin. And then, see, so therefore we're saying the judgment, if there was a gap there, and the judgment came upon these, these men, there was judgment came, we're in a recreation, okay? And sin's in the world because of Satan, it doesn't say that. Sin's in the world because of us.
Right.
Okay?
So it entered in the world, though.
It
says they're talking about sin entered the world, but sin already was. Is that correct?
No. It says right there, therefore just as sin entered the world through one man.
Does that mean, is that the same as saying that, whoop, that's when it was formed? That's when it was
Dad,
or is that even
what sin really is disobeying the Lord. That's what sin is.
Right. Lawlessness. Right. It's lawlessness.
Well, Satan has already done that.
Right.
So he's the father of
So
sin. Right?
his father sinned. It was his father lies, as they put it. Right. But that's a good question, Debbie. So how can we answer it? Let's look at that. No, because like we just got done saying, Satan's therefore, even if Satan fell before, okay, or even if Satan, let's put it this way, even if Satan, no matter where, Satan, he was already even here on earth, already been cast out of heaven before man ever sinned. So therefore Satan would be responsible for our sin, but he wasn't. It says right here, a man was responsible. So no, it did not enter the world, it came through a man, not through Satan. Satan was the tempter. See what I'm talking?
What Debbie's asking though is sin was, okay, even though it entered, right? And
right.
And tell me if I'm wrong, Debbie, but she's asking, it wasn't already beforehand that sin was in existence.
No.
Just in the universe. Before even...
No. Not through a man. You know what I'm saying? I know what you're trying to say, because, okay.
Just sin itself.
No, I don't believe so. No.
So
No, because you know what? No, because the reason why I said because their judgments they've already had their judgment. So therefore, see what I'm talking about? Well, even technically you already did. Technically.
So if that was the case, let's take the gap theory that they've already had their judgment because God destroyed the earth and recreated it. Why would just the what did you call it, man, figure or man, whatever? Why did they just get condemned and not Satan at that point? Why did they?
Because okay, now that's a good question. And the one thing here's the thing we've got to put together too. Let's don't forget. Okay, we haven't gotten there. As we study this, don't forget. Who's made in God's likeness? Only man, not Satan. Okay, so therefore, it didn't enter through the world. See what I'm saying? Because it came through a man. Okay, see what I'm talking? See what I'm talking about? So his judgment, when the angels sinned, angels had free will, but that's it. They have not the same free will like we do. Okay, they have free will. Once that's it, once they sin, that's it. Bang, that was it. Done deal. There's no forgiveness. Judgment instantaneously. Okay, our judgment was done at the cross. Okay, we have free will, but when we mess up, when we sin, okay, there was no forgiveness. So they had a separate judgment.
Right.
You know?
So just so I understand, sin was completely 100% non-existent. All right, it wasn't even a thought in anyone's mind.
Right.
Until man ushered it in.
Right. Sure. Because think about this. They have to be. Because think about this. Was Satan not in the garden?
Yes.
He was in the garden.
Yes.
And there was no sin at that time, right?
Right.
No. See, it
Not
came.
on earth.
No,
Well, I
right.
guess it would be because
See?
they set a judgment. You're
Right. See? So there was no sin yet because even Satan was there. We know he was there on earth, and there was no sin.
Right.
It had to come in through a man.
I
It
see.
came in
Yeah.
through man, but so the snake wasn't sin?
Well, yeah. Well, he was the accuser, the devil. I know what you're trying to say. Okay, I understand what you're trying to say. Okay, but we can't look at Satan isn't sin. We, you know what I'm saying? We have free will.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
See what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So.
I get it.
See what I'm talking about?
Right.
Because that's the same thing. If God looked at it and said he's good and Satan's here, how can he say he's good if Satan has nothing to do with
I
Satan?
know what you're saying.
See, he's looking at his creation of us.
Right.
Okay? That's a good point because the earth was not created. What was the earth created for? You're right, not for Satan, so it has nothing to do with
Was it
it.
there for God's purpose? Or was it-
Everything's created for God's
Yeah,
purpose.
but think of it like this, God gave us dominion over the earth. when
Right.
we first
Right.
created.
He didn't give
So
Satan.
for us to defile, not
Right.
Satan.
Right.
Satan
Right.
by being here, it was not on him to
Right.
defile the earth.
Exactly.
So he made us defile it.
I like that story.
Right.
Good, buddy.
So,
Well, he helped us to smile it.
uh-huh.
He did make us help.
No, that's a woman making excuses.
Yes, I'm gonna co-sign it.
All right. See, this could get really pretty good stuff here. Where my other paper
They
go?
were all here. To think of us kooks in here.
Us and the internet.
Yeah.
All right, now that's one that's out there. You can see how deep we can get into that. So I don't want to get to it. So we have an idea kind of what the gap theory is, right? Now there's another thing. Like I said, there's three different main theories that evangelicals look at. This is called the day-age theory. All right,
Day-age.
the day-age theory. Okay, there's those who believe chapter 1. Okay, this is what we're going to look at. There's a little interpretation. Those who believe chapter 1 were a normal 24-hour day, just like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Okay. There are those who believe that the days in Genesis chapter 1 were not 24-hour days, but each day represented an age, a long period of time.
Like 1,000 years or something.
It could be 1,000 years. We're going to look at that. We see that in Peter, where the day is like 1,000 years. Some believe, evangelicals believe it might have been an age of 1,000,000 years. One could have been 1,000,000 years. And so you can put evolution in that too. Okay? And you can look, when you look at, it's actually when you look at some of the, if you interpret the way you can interpret Genesis like that, a lot of it can really make sense. Okay? A lot of it can really make sense when they look at it. Now, there's a lot of great creationists who believe this. Doesn't mean that somebody who believes this isn't a Christian. Just don't get that.
I think old
You know.
Missler believes that it's 24 hour.
Yeah, I've heard him. He believes 24 hours, but he has some different, there's a little different view. Huh? Well, we're going to look at that. That's what we're going to get into. That's what we're going to look into. Okay.
This is what the Bible says. It's the day.
Well, okay. Well, we have to. When we study the Bible, we always should understand that we should always understand to literally interpret the Bible where it makes sense in the context, where it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense,
Can't be God.
okay, well, no. If it doesn't make sense, then we know not to interpret it that way. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, in other words, we're going to kind of give you some. We're going to look at some basic meanings of that. So, how do we know? Because some people say, well, it wasn't a literal day. Okay, it was an age. So we got all these ages. There was millions of years, and that's where the dinosaurs are, or you know what I'm saying, Adam and Eve could have been there for millions and millions of years, okay? Let's take the basic meaning. Basic meaning of, okay, let's go to Isaiah chapter 11:6. Am I going way too fast, Karen? Am I talking? Okay. 11:6. Now, this is all basic stuff, but it's good to go over.
I know. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them.
Okay, so right there we see the basic meaning of a lamb is what? A four-footed animal. We see it tells you right there. That's a literal interpretation, right? But now go to John chapter 1:29.